The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
First Speaker Podcast coming to you on August 30th, 2022. How you guys doing? Active week, as always. Podcast, of course, follow our podcast. What am I missing? Stitcher Radio, Amazon, what am I missing? Stitcher, I don't know, whatever. You guys know the drill. I've been doing the show for 11 years now. If you don't know the drill by now, then I can't help you. I really cannot. Anyway, got a lot of stuff that's got on my chest. Solo pod. You guys heard earlier the last episode we just did. We did with our, my good friend E. Duke Bennett. He was on the show. We talked a little pro wrestling, talked a little politics. It was a great episode. Had a great time with Duke. You can check it out, of course, on the YouTube page. In addition to this feed, also on the YouTube page, especially the video for that Earnestly Media YouTube page. Check it out. Subscribe. We are actually one subscriber away from having 100. So please get onto that. Okay. Anyway, I want to run this. I don't want to spend more than 25, 30 minutes on this podcast, so let's try to get this done as relatively at ease as possible. We had to last whole episode we did. I was explaining to you guys how like pet ownership and it's a pain in the ass. As much as I love having pets, and I lost my dog back in May, and and I love having my dog, but I'm also not really excited about getting another dog again, at least anytime soon. I don't want to have another dog anyway for a while. And I spoke to you guys how like one of our cats, we had to take him to the vet and whatnot, and that same day we came back home. I did a quick podcast and discussed how what was going on with him. Well, unfortunately, that same night he had a reaction to the meds and stuff, and he had a blockage in his urethra. The big issue was he couldn't pee. He couldn't pee because there was a blockage. And my wife that night, after we took him to the vet, hours later took him to the vet, and we had to make the decision to put him down. It's been a tough weekend for my wife, especially she's a major big cat person. I love my cats obviously too, but she's been going through it like a lot. And it's just one of those things where pets, man, you forget how important pets are to the family dynamic. It really is. But yeah, sad. It was really very sad. Yeah, I mean, I said going through it all week and whatnot, and we have one cat left now. So I mean, we've lost two pets in the span of 3 months. My dog Ozzy, of course, back in May, and now our cat Ozzy. We named him Ozzy because of he was all black, literally all the way through, and obviously Ozzy Osbourne, think of Black Sabbath, and so it made sense. It was a really cool name. We only had him for over a year, man. It was very sad. I miss him. We miss him like crazy. He, for me, it's weird because like he spent a lot of time in here in the studio when I podcasted. He would always come in here and lay down on the seat next to me, and while I was recording, sometimes he'll even jump up on my desk, and he'll like cross. Very rarely it'll happen, but he'll cross the camera. There was about a couple of instances last year where he would catwalk through the camera. You can see him, but he was a cool cat, man. He was a really cool cat. I'm really gonna miss him. But yeah, my wife's taking it really hard, especially she's done a lot of loss last 5 years. Her dad, of course, passed away back in 2017. Grandmother passed away a couple years ago. Pets that we've loved and whatnot. So it's been a rough couple of years for her, with all of us really. But she's taking the hardest. Obviously, our kids trying to adjust without the cat too, especially, has been really tough. But we miss you, Ozzy. We do miss you. So like I said, we put him down, and like I said, I told my wife that look, I'm opening another cat. Cats are easy. So I have no problem getting another cat, but I told her, let's wait a little bit. Let's wait a couple months, because our other cat Mochi we have now currently, she's going through it too. She's obviously last couple of days been scanning the house looking for Ozzy, and she was actually very close to both the dog and the cat, both Ozzy and Ozzy. So it's just one of those things where, like, I was never a really big pet guy growing up, but what they say is true. I thought it was a cliche, but it's true. Pets are part of your family, man, and you feel the loss. You do feel the loss. So, again, rest in peace to Ozzy. No one gone, So, anyway, no way to get out. To get out of this. Good way to get out of this segment here. But we got 1 month down. 1 month down in baseball. Football's around the corner. Football starts next week. Basketball's another month away. Hockey's been another month away. College football starts this week. Well, it started this week, but week 1's this week. But I'm still engaged in baseball. I really am. The Mets are still playing good baseball. Right now they're playing the Dodgers. They're down 4-3 right now currently as of recording. But they're playing good baseball. They're in first place in the East, still NL East with a month ago. But there's also some good stories going around too. The Yankees are playing good baseball again, and the Dodgers are dominating. The Orioles are playing good baseball. They're right in the playoff picture. It's just been a fascinating year. The Braves are, other than the hiccup against the Mets back in early August, they've been dominant. It's been a fun year. It's been a really fun year. It's one of the better seasons. And obviously the Mets being good obviously helps that because, as I told you in the past, if the Mets aren't good, it's hard for me to be engaged. And I love baseball, but it's one of those sports where I'm not as passionate like I am with football and basketball, where the Heat can be bad or the Giants can be bad, but I'm still watching something. Obviously, the baseball playoffs start coming around, and I'm engaged. But this year's been really fun. My passion, I said before, my passion for baseball has kind of returned this year. Again, a lot of it has to do with the Mets being as good as they are. Whatever, it sounds like a homer thing, but whatever. But it's been a fun year. It's been a really fun year. It should be a nice pennant. We have a couple of races. There's a couple of races here. The wild card race is obviously, something. Do you have the AL Central? The Guardians, the former Indians, and the Twins 2 games apart. Obviously, Houston has the AL West wrapped up, 11.5 game league. The Yankees 6.5 game lead over the Rays. The Rays are playing some good baseball. They can make things interesting in September if things get crazy. The Mets and the Rays, like I said, NL East 3 games apart right now as this recording. St. Louis and Milwaukee 5.5 games apart. St. Louis should win that, but we'll see. Obviously, the Dodgers is dominating everybody. They're 19.5 games ahead of the Padres. Of course, the Padres losing, was it Tatis for the year? So it's one of those things where it is what it is. So the wild card is pretty interesting in the National League. From we kind of have an idea who's going to get in. Milwaukee's a game and a half out, really. Pretty much Atlanta, Philly, or San Diego, and Milwaukee's the only team in the mix in the American League. You have the Orioles hanging around there, and Minnesota hanging around there, and the White Sox hanging around there. But I think you're starting to see teams define themselves now at this point, at this point in the season. So, but we'll see how September goes out. I love pennant time, especially. September's a fun time in sports because, again, baseball pennant, football starting on both college and NFL side, NBA around the corner, NHL around the corner. A lot of things going on. TV sweeps. So content time is great. And then this year is a political year, is a midterm, so you got a lot of that going on too. So for me, this podcast and the other podcasts I do and things I appear on, this is a very fun time for me. Especially it's a fun time for me to dabble in content and writing and all this stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I obviously don't want to get burned out, but right now I'm okay. Right now I've been doing good. I'm really pacing myself, and that time away from Take 3, time away from this show for a week, especially too. It was good for me. It really was. So, as of last week, also I didn't have a chance to touch on this last week on the last solo pod, but it's official as of last week. In Florida, here the governorship, Ron DeSantis is going to be facing Charlie Crist for the gubernatorial race. Look, I don't think Charlie Crist has a chance to win this thing. I don't really like either of these guys. Charlie Crist I voted for back in 2007 when he was a Republican governor, but he's as wishy-washy as they come. He's been from Republican to Independent to Democrat. Whatever. Not a big DeSantis guy myself, too. Better than Trump, yes, but I just don't see any way that DeSantis does not win this race. Not only he's going to win this race, I think, convincingly. Obviously, you've seen some of the races, some Democrats, starting to do okay in certain, policies and races and whatnot, across the country ever since the Roe v. Wade thing came about, being undone, and then of course gun violence and all that. But again, inflation is still a thing. Gas prices are still pretty high. Oh, they are dropping now. They are dropping, but I just don't see. I think Ron DeSantis has so much right now clout and so much, credit. What do we call it right now in the state? That I think he's probably gonna be the first Republican governor to really win an election in a fairly convincing fashion. I think he wins this race by about 5 to 7 points, and not more. Honestly, I just think the Democrats. Charlie Crist is not a strong candidate for starters, even though he was a governor for a couple of years. I just don't think they have a presence in the state anymore. I really don't. I mean, we spoke about this on the episode as did last with E. Duke Bennett. We on the back end of the podcast, we're talking about politics, about how Democrats in this state don't have a presence because this state in Florida is not. It's actually very purple on policy. It's actually quite kind of liberal on policy, kind of progressive. Like again, minimum wage approved 2 years ago, $50 an hour, going to happen. It's going up. You also have the weed, marijuana, about to be recreational very soon. Both those things are actual progressive platforms, and yet Democrats can't win elections in the state. Whether it's the Senate, whether it's the governorship, which has been well over 2 decades since that we had a Democratic governor in this state. And I'm not sitting here shooting for the Democrats here because I'm not a Democrat myself. I mean, I lean left on certain issues. I lean right on certain issues too. I mean, I already told you guys my not disgust, but I guess I'm going to discuss. I've had for the Republican Party for a number of years now, and it's gotten worse. But Democrats, in my opinion, have gotten no better because they, I have my opinions on that. Another podcast. That's the episode in itself. But you know how I feel about this at this point. So it's like gas prices are dropping now. I think I saw prices go as low. There were some spots this weekend that had prices as low as $2.99 a gallon in this city here in Boynton / Lake Worth. Of course, I didn't see that, but I heard about that. Gas right now is about $3.45, $3.50 right now on average. I saw some prices tick up a little bit recently, but it's still stabilized. Look, I'm not getting excited about that. I've been very critical. I know a lot of Democrats, like Joe Biden and the White House, been taking credit for it lowering, which is shit. It was just silly because how are you going to take credit for it lowering now? But then when the prices are high, you don't want to take blame for that. And I'm not even saying that you're to blame, but you can't play both ways. You can't play both ways. It's intellectually dishonest. Don't do that shit. I remember I posted something on the Democratic Party page because they were bragging about that, and then they proceeded to I put a little thing saying you shouldn't be doing that, and then they proceeded to try to contact me and get my opinion on things. And I want them doing that, man. I honestly didn't. So, but they're dropping. Let's see if it continues. I won't start getting excited until I see it go under $3 at least, because I'm sick and tired of paying for gas. $3.50, $4, and all that. It's beyond ridiculous. It really is. So, some WWE talk real quick. I just saw. I shared a video on my Instagram today too. Roman Reigns trash talking. Throughout the last couple of years as a heel. He's been now champion, WWE champion for 2 years straight. It's crazy because we haven't seen this kind of storyline. This kind of like booking. Having a top guy, stay the top guy as champion. I haven't seen it since Hulk Hogan in 1984 to 88. Even that era, you can hold the title for a year or 9 months, whatever it may be. But it's always been 6 months to a year tops, and then it changes hands. Roman Reigns, what he's doing is impressive because it's not just the fact he's champion. It's the fact that he's champion, but he's a heel champion. He's a heel champion who's now gone from a guy that was forced down our throats by Vince, for years. And then when the pandemic happened, he took some time off because, he maybe had leukemia for a while and he went risk getting sick and stuff. But he came back, went with the heel turn. I mean, who knows if they go this route, if there was no pandemic. Who knows? I still question that. I'm glad he did, though, because, again, what makes this run interesting is that he's doing this as a heel champion for 2 years straight. It's great. It's great storytelling. And we talk about guys entering the top 10 conversation, of all-time WWE guys, obviously. This is obviously a scripted platform, of course, so whatever it is, what it is. But he's in that conversation now. He's in there. He's in that conversation. You hold the title 2 years straight. Then you get the other title. You get the Universal title at WrestleMania this past April. He's been dominant. It's been fantastic to watch, and he's been compelling TV. He's been the only good thing really on SmackDown that you can really watch. Like, I haven't really enjoyed SmackDown in a long time. He's the only thing I've enjoyed on SmackDown. Him and the Bloodline. Him and the Usos, of course, and then Sami Zayn trying to crack his way into that. But other than that, SmackDown hasn't been a good watch. But I will say WWE program has gotten better, especially on the Raw side. For years, Raw's been panned as the worst show of the two. But Triple H's taken over now, and we've seen some good positive things come out of that brand as of late, post Vince. It's really cool. It's really cool to watch. See it sustain it, of course. Again, check out the episode this did recently, this past yesterday with Duke Bennett. Again, we went into that. He gave us pros and cons about the Triple H era, what he's doing right, what's doing wrong, all that. But yeah, this Roman run is fantastic. I don't want it to end. I see it going through Mania this year. Probably Cody gets the belt. Who knows? Maybe The Rock. I mean, I was still thinking the Rock Roman thing's gonna happen next year. Who knows? But I'm enjoying the run. It's been a fantastic run. I'm really enjoying it. So my buddy of mine had posted something on Facebook the other day. And it had to do with it was a meme, I guess, I'm going to call it a meme or whatever you want to call that. It was concerning hip hop and who's the greatest in hip hop history and all that. And I'm going to read that real quick. I'm trying to get my phone up real quick. He was basically saying that, Jay-Z is the greatest rapper of all time. And whether there's a debate or not. So I'm going to read the meme here, and I'm going to give my take on this. So the meme says this: judging by every element on average, flow, delivery, punchline, cadence, catalog, pen game, record sales, success, impact, longevity, dress sense, steez, style, greatness, class, everything. Jay-Z has to be the greatest rapper of all time, and it shouldn't be a debate. When you take all those things there that was in this meme, I can argue that the person who made this meme is probably correct. If you take all those things and you pluck each thing in there, like, to me, he may not do one thing the best, but when you take all those things there, I can argue that Jay-Z is definitely in the conversation. Probably is correct. I do think it's a debate, though, because hip hop is a little more complicated for me because, Jay-Z obviously, was able to. I always say he would have gotten big anyway, regardless of Biggie and Tupac and not got murdered in 96, 97. Because Jay-Z broke through after that. Jay-Z broke through mainstream wise right after those two got murdered, and I still think he would have found a way. But I can argue that it might not be as his impact wouldn't probably be as great because, again, and that's what was before in the past when we were talking about DMX and when he passed away, about his impact. Once you lost Biggie and once you lost Tupac in 96, 97, there was definitely a big hole there. There was definitely a hole where, okay, who's the next guy? Because the clear-cut guys were, as I just mentioned, Jay-Z and Biggie. Biggie and Tupac. And Jay-Z, coming through in 98, all the way through 2001 with the Blueprint and all that, he obviously took the mantle. I argue him, and then maybe, you can say DMX, of course, and you can probably say even Ja Rule for a little while, but I would say Jay-Z is probably the bigger name of all. He had the space to become that guy. Obviously, you look at guys like, I think a lot of guys like LL Cool J get disrespected. I think guys like Eric B. were disrespected. I'm not saying Jay-Z's not the greatest of all time. Jay-Z definitely, like, if I did a Mount Rushmore of hip hop artists, Jay-Z's under Mount Rushmore. Let's be clear about that. I also put Eminem there too. I might put LL Cool J there as well too. Biggie probably on there too as well. Who knows? But I think it's still debate. I think Jay-Z had the space to dominate, and then I think also, his profile was big also. And then when you're dating Beyonce, who's, in my opinion, for the last probably 15 years, maybe longer, in my opinion, the best entertainer in the world alive. I think all those elements help his case. So is Jay-Z the greatest hip hop artist ever? He's definitely in conversation. I'm not going to debate whether it's in conversation or not. Is he clear cut number one? I won't go that far. Because I don't think he has the best flow of all time. I think he has a good flow, but I think it's the best flow of all time. I think style, maybe you can give him something on that. But I think Jay-Z is in the conversation. So this morning, my wife and I were having a discussion, and we're sticking on music, of course. It's good to have a music discussion here. It's been a little while. We were talking this morning because I'm actually going to be doing a podcast with our friend here, James Nees, Big Jim, on his podcast in the next week or so, on Discussion Nobody. We're going to be doing our personal top 10 list of Queen songs. Now, it's not the top 10 best songs we're doing. We're taking 10 songs of their entire catalog that we believe are our favorite songs personally and ranking them. Okay? So we will discuss this with my wife, and my wife asked me if I had Bohemian Rhapsody on my list. And I told her, spoiler alert, no, I don't. Now, let's be clear. I do think Bohemian Rhapsody is their best song. Without question. It's the best song. It's the mainstream hit. It's also genius and all that. You name it. But if you ask me, is Bohemian Rhapsody in my top 10 favorite Queen songs? I'm going to tell you no. It's up there. It's probably top 15. But I have 10 songs that I believe, in my opinion, for me, that I enjoy more than Bohemian Rhapsody. I tell her this, of course, and she's going for work of what is happening, and she's fucking pissed off. She's like, fucking, like, you're insane. How can you say that? Again, I'm telling her, this is not a debate about what is the best song. I'm agreeing with you that it is their best song, but it's not my favorite song. It's like I say, the three artists that I invest the most, the three music acts of all time that I love the most: Michael Jackson, Metallica, and Queen, in that order. So most Michael Jackson fans, casual or not, will probably say that his biggest song, or songs maybe, is Billie Jean or Man in the Mirror. Those are probably the two biggest songs that people know Michael by, even someone, whether they're a fan or not. And those songs are great songs. I'm not saying sitting there saying it is the biggest songs, all that. They're great songs. But none of those songs are in my top 10 either. Metallica, their biggest song is Enter Sandman, by far. No one's even going to question that. It's Enter Sandman. Enter Sandman's not even my top 30 or 40 favorite songs of theirs. And I love Enter Sandman, but it's not in my top 20, 30, or 40. The debate here is about what is my favorite songs, not what is I perceive to be the best song. So we could do that all day long. We can sit there and rank the best songs of Queen, and I'll say, oh, well, I'll put in Bohemian Rhapsody, and I'll put in, Fat Bottom Girls, and I'll put in Killer Queen, and whatnot. But we're not having a discussion about their best songs. It's not a greatest hits discussion. We're having a discussion about what songs that, for a band or artist that I invest heavily into, that I even enjoy the deep cuts, do you perceive to be the best songs of that artist? And as much as I love Bohemian Rhapsody, and it's a fantastic song, it is the best song. I agree with you 100% on that. It's not my favorite song. And again, she doesn't get it. She's still pissed about it. She's still really pissed what I said. So I don't know, man. I told my buddy Ferris, who's a major Queen fan, even bigger than me, because to me he's the benchmark, because he's a die-hard, run-of-the-mill Queen fan. I asked him, is Bohemian Rhapsody in your top 10? He goes, yeah, it is. And then my wife goes, like, you see, you're an idiot. How can you not have that same feeling or position, rather? Well, it's me. It's what I feel. Okay. Again, Bohemian Rhapsody is the best song. I'm acknowledging that, but it's not my favorite song of Queen. It's not my top 10 favorite songs, and that's fine. And I wish that it can just be. It is what it is. So, but she was so pissed about that. She really was. All right, last thing before I go. I want to keep this a little short. I'm going to have more podcasts this week. My buddy Cliff is coming on the show, I think, tomorrow. We're going to talk New York Mets baseball. Actually, all Mets talk here. He's been on the show before. It's been the first time in a couple of years he's been on the show, though. But Michael Jackson, I just mentioned a while ago, Michael Jackson would have been 64 years old this week. It's crazy. He died 13 years ago, 2009. It's fascinating how his legacy, despite everything he's gone through, when he was alive, his last years before he died, you had the thing 3 years ago, Living Neverland and all that stuff, the perceptions of what people might believe or don't believe about Michael's lifestyle. You know how I feel about that. My position is intact because I have done the research. I know people, so I have a little more insight than most when it comes to Michael Jackson and his life and all that. But it's so fascinating to me how, with everything he's gone through, how his legacy still remains huge. And this is why I say that. I think YouTube, for me, is probably the best medium in terms of gauging popularity. So, Michael Jackson, as of today, has over 26 million subscribers on YouTube. The Michael Jackson account, the state account. For clarity, Beyonce has 25 million, which is a lot too. However, this is what's fascinating. Beyonce, when I've been tracking Michael's numbers on YouTube for about 5 years now. And I remember when Leave Neverland came out in March 2019, I purposely made sure I marked down how much subscribers Michael Jackson's account did have, because that would gauge me as to whether or not he's being quote-unquote canceled. He had 13 million subscribers, 13.2 I think it was, in March of 2019 when the documentary came out. Clearly it had the same impact we thought it was going to have, because half of his subscriber base alone has come in the last 3 years. And again, I think YouTube is the best gauge to use for this, because it's the medium that most people use, no matter what age you are. You want to find a video, want to find this and that, most likely you can find it on YouTube. It's fascinating too, because Michael Jackson was never a YouTube artist at any point, even alive. YouTube started, 2004, 3, whatever it was. He wasn't an active artist in 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 before he died, at any point. Okay, and then he's been dead for 13 years. And yet, his subscriber numbers are, for a guy that was never an active artist, is through the roof. For context, Madonna, who's still active, not as big as it was before, but Madonna's still active, has only 5 million subscribers. Whitney Houston, who's been dead for 10 years now, has 7 million subscribers. Beyonce, when I checked on Beyonce's numbers at one point, Beyonce had, I think, 24 million at one point, and Michael, I think, at that time had 17, 18 million. And Michael's not past Beyonce in subscriber numbers, which is crazy. Now BTS has 70-something million, and Eminem has 70-something million, 60 million, whatever, and Billie Eilish has 45 million. But those artists are active artists for people who are around today to experience the music, and obviously, they're going to have the impact. But the reason why Michael Jackson's number is so impressive is that he's been working on a negative backdrop with bad press, not being active, being dead, and let's be real here, an estate that's been average at best. Like, his estate hasn't been great. His estate was pretty good the first couple of years out the gate, selling merch, and they put out some good documentaries. And then after 2016, I think, really is when things started to go to shit for the estate. They haven't really done anything of significance in a while. No posthumous albums, no documentaries, really, not of anything. But yet the legacy still remains. Like, you have now the musical, the MJ musical that's going on in New York. My mom went to last week and she enjoyed it. Got me brought me back a T-shirt and all that. You have an upcoming movie coming up. It's amazing how his despite all the negative press, despite not being an active YouTube artist. This is why I say Michael Jackson is the GOAT. This is why I keep saying Michael Jackson is the greatest of all time, because his fans are driving this. And I think what his legacy is, as he benefited from more than anything else, and I've been saying this for years, is we live in the information age where you can debunk things. You can actually read and get information at your fingertips, as opposed to when you couldn't 20, 30 years ago. So he's benefiting a lot from the information age as well too. So happy birthday to MJ, 64 years old, posthumous. Obviously, we miss you. Legacy remains, of course, too. And this podcast remains too, as I'm going to get out of here now because my throat's going bad again. I've done 3 podcasts today. I just did, like I said, did the Duke Bennett episode earlier today, which is, and I also just got done doing the Huddle Up podcast. I've been doing every week with our friends Big Jim and Matt and Kyle. You should check it out, of course, too. I'll probably leave some of the notes on the page. And oh fuck, the Dodgers won today. 4-3 over the Mets. Damn it. Look, as long as the Braves keep losing some games, I'm happy. I just don't want to gain any ground on us. That's all. But anyway, I'm on Twitter, EJChristian7, Earnestly Podcast. Guys, please, especially subscribe on Earnestly Media on YouTube. We are one subscriber away from 100. I'm trying to get this thing going. Also, my football podcast, Football's Awesome, is going to be relaunching, let's say, next week. Next Tuesday, we're a week away. Can't wait for that. Power rankings, narratives, and picks of the week. Can't wait for that. That'll be dropping every Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, most likely. Other than that, I'm out of here. We'll talk soon. God bless y'all. Love you guys, and we'll talk later. See ya.